welcome back to another episode of More Than Friends. My name is Tashi, and with me today is the beautiful Lauren Summers, my bestie. She's my favorite. So.
You're my favorite. We actually haven't seen each other in months because I was out of town, and so this is great.
And I almost killed myself. It's cool.
I would have understood. I'm that great.
So I'm just, really excited to have her back. I'm trying not to touch her the whole time.
I know, I missed you the whole time. We're just gonna be like this.
We're just holding hands.
Yeah, like we're here to talk to you about dating each other. Okay.
And then today it was going to be a really cute episode. We're going to help guys feel strong, sharing emotions and being more vulnerable, but do it in like a masculine way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always say there's nothing more attractive than a guy who is comfortable being vulnerable.
It's so hot.
It's so hot. Like, have you ever like couples therapy, for example? I've done couples therapy a few times. And after the fact, every time we have sex, we would have sex because it was like we were just so open and honest and vulnerable with each other that we were like, that closeness.
It's so hot.
Let's take it to the bedroom. There's something about it.
That's what guys don't understand.
There's
is like women,
it.
when we connect, that just makes us want you so much more. Like that's our thing is connection. So I'm like, just connect.
Just connect. Just be open.
So you can connect.
You just connect.
I was like,
so you can do dicks. This is for any kind of relationship. There's something so attractive about it, and it's just so. I think the reason it's so attractive, maybe you'll agree, is like because it's so scary the first few times that you're vulnerable with someone. So for someone to be able to be like, I'm willing to confront this fear for you and do this scary thing because I care about you and us, it's like, oh my God, that's so attractive.
Yeah, I literally have a guy friend that just crushes it with women because he's the type of guy that could be friends with girls as well.
Yeah.
And those are always like such a green flag to me. I'm like, or if they had a sister or like they just get women. But it's because they know how to share their emotions, but it's not like they're doing it in like such a feminine way. They're like still like, you still see them as a guy. Like, it's still,
exactly.
But like you actually enjoy talking to them and connecting. So I'm like, you will crush with women if you do this.
Trust. So listen to this. Stay tuned for this. You're gonna need it.
How do you feel about a guy being very open about his feelings when it comes to a situation between you two or just your relationship?
Well, first of all, so attractive when it's done right. So I feel like there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. And I think that the wrong way would be yelling, screaming, being not even overly emotional, just like overreacting to things.
Yeah.
But whenever a guy can like, here's how I feel. Whether it's a good thing of like, I really care about you and blah, 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 or it's like, hey, this really hurt my feelings. I really want to talk to you about it. That's the way to do it. I think it's so attractive when done the right way.
Yeah.
It is so attractive whenever a guy can not only trust you with his emotions, but also knows how to communicate that. It's just, it's just hot.
And you brought up a good point of like when they get angry or they yell or anything like that, usually it's coming from, which people don't understand. When you get so angry at someone, it's because you're triggered by them, and it might be triggering a past trauma that you need to release. Like maybe you got cheated on before or something in the past, and now you're feeling like this girl is doing it to you again. So like sometimes it could be like irrational anger. You're like, why am I so angry at such a little thing?
It's displaced. It's like displaced anger, displaced emotion. It's like, I understand why you're feeling this way, but it's not my fault. I didn't cheat on you 10 years ago. I didn't know you 10 years ago, so this isn't on me.
So I think that's what's cool is like telling yourself like, okay, I'm going to disconnect. This could be something from my past that I need to release, and she's triggering it. And then you can come into it being like, okay, you're not purposely trying to hurt me. Obviously, there are people that are maybe trying to purposely hurt you, but I'm saying for someone that you're in a good relationship with. They're not purposely trying to hurt you, so coming at them calmly is the best. Like, because women, we care about our safety, so if we hear you yelling or anything like that, we're gonna shut down.
Yes. I went on a date with this guy, fantastic, and we were talking about, because remember how we joked about how like on a first date we'll be like, haha, what are your triggers? So I literally asked him, what are your triggers in a relationship and what are your traumas? I was like, what are your like triggers in a relationship? And he couldn't really think of one, so I was like, I'll go first.
I got you.
Cool, I'll go first. I've been waiting for you to ask. But I was like, whenever a man yells and like raises his voice at me, it's like I turn into a child again, and I really go like in myself, and I just like turn so small, and I just want to like escape. And he had this like empathy in his eyes, and he put his hand on my leg, and he was like, I'm so sorry. And he was like, it makes me feel any better. I've never yelled at a woman.
Oh, that's
and I was like, I'm so a 4.5. And it was just really attractive to know that he knows that like I know better than to overreact, raise my voice, because you can just use your words.
Yeah, you're just
gonna
trying
slip
to
up for a second, maybe be like, oh fuck, and then be like, okay, sorry, I need a second, or like whatever. That's fine. That's normal. We're human beings.
Oh, 100%.
But
and
to yell, to scream, to use, to call names.
And it's like, if you know that you have an issue with yelling or like getting your temper's too high, tell her like, I can't talk to you right now. Let's talk about this. Yeah. Like some guys will even take like a few hours. Like they have to leave or whatever. Like it's like fine, but you have to like almost like process it.
Yeah. And that's also okay.
That's hot too. Yeah,
I know. Because I love a man that's aware. Awareness.
Because I dated someone before where they purposely like it wasn't that they were yelling, but they did have to like digest like what happened, because they didn't want to say anything mean to me. Yeah. So they were like, hold on, I need to go away for a little bit.
My ex did that too, but then it would get to the point to where he'd be like, I need a minute, I need to like calm down. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. A day would pass.
That's not a minute.
You know, a day would pass. He'd be like hanging out in the office. He'd like come in the kitchen. He like wouldn't talk to me. Like go back into the office. And he was like, I'm just not. And I'm like, this is just avoidance. This isn't healthily taking a break to digest this problem. This is you're avoiding it altogether. So I'm like, there's balance in everything.
Oh, 100%. And that's where I got better with the person that had to take like a few hours. It got to the point where we got so good at realizing that we weren't purposely trying to hurt each other, and that it was like just triggers that we needed to talk about. And then he got even more to the point of where it got to the point where he could just talk about it with me. He didn't have to take so much time. So I was like, because he's like, oh wait, you feel safe. And the more you connect with someone, the more you trust them. So then you feel like you can open up more.
Yeah, they become your safe space. Pointing at the problem and not each other.
Yeah. Because over time, that's what ruins a lot of relationships is people, they start dating someone and then they're like, they're triggering me. It's them making me feel bad. So I should break up with them and try to find someone else. But you keep reliving it in other people because it's your triggers that you need to release.
That's what ruined my last relationship. Oh my God. I was like, I'm not whoever hurt you in the past. You've got to figure your stuff out. I can't hold your hand through all of this. It was so traumatizing.
Oh, it's a lot.
Because he would yell, he'd scream, he whatever, and I was like, I just told you that I didn't, whatever. Like calmly, I told you this, and he was like, and I was like, holy, this isn't about me, is it?
This isn't a me thing.
Is it? It's such a shame. So before you go on a dating app, before you go into another relationship, maybe look internally. Yeah. Maybe realize, am I ready to, step into something? Is it fair to the other person if I step into a relationship? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're not being fair. It's not fair. You're not ready. No. You're not ready yet.
Is there anything in your past relationships where if the man was more aware of himself emotionally or more vulnerable that you guys would still be together?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like there would be conversations that needed to happen rather, and even they would start out fine, but then once it would get to the point where it's like he had to get a little bit vulnerable, or like he had to open up, or he had to maybe even admit wrong, it would blow out. He couldn't do it. It was almost like this fear of, and understandably, of like this fear of admittance to having maybe like a bigger responsibility in the problem than once thought, or just having that vulnerability of like, oh, I'm the problem, and that's a really hard thing
You're like, then it's a really hard thing.
Now. Yeah, so it's like I get it, but like at some point in your adult life, you have to do that, and you have to overcome that. And I feel like if that ex was able to do that, we probably maybe we'd still be together. Yeah, because they showed effort and they showed initiative.
Yeah,
it's necessary.
Yeah, because there's even like. Because if you actually go back and see like why you can't admit to being wrong or things like that, it's usually something within your childhood where it's like if you were wrong, there was consequences, or like if you weren't if you didn't take care of yourself in a way like a know-it-all or things like that. It's usually some childhood stuff. Because I had one where I was like, I was like a know-it-all, where I was like, I have to know everything and I can't be wrong. But it was more coming from like, because when I was younger, they told me I had a learning disability, but it was just ADD. So I was like, I'm broken. So I need to learn everything to make sure I'm not dumb. So I was like, then I realized, oh, I could be better in relationships and hear other people's point of views instead of being like, no, my way's best. But I had to do the inner work.
You had to do the inner work. You had to have that awareness, and that's such an attractive quality in someone. Because you're like, oh, I don't have to do it for you. Because also at the end of the day, you can try to do that for someone, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, no.
You can walk a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
And that's what's important, I feel like, for men, like, even getting into relationship and stuff like that, women can help you with that emotional side. So it is cool, like, start working on trying to be emotional because a woman they do bring you up mentally.
Yeah.
I'm like, they do.
We can't do it for you. We can help. We can help.
We got you.
Yeah, it's true. We can be that safe space.
I know I've had a past relationship where it didn't work out because he had some underlying traumas of, like, not trusting me, but it came out in a weird way of, like, he knew what I did for a living, where I make, like, sexy dating advice videos or things like that, where I'm like, obviously I'm doing it for the men. I want to make learning fun. Yeah. But he knew that going into meeting me, but then it became a problem once he liked me. And I
hate whenever men do that. I have a girlfriend and she was dating this guy at the time, and he was like a pretty decent celebrity himself, so he was getting attention, and he fully knew this is a gorgeous, beautiful girl.
Beautiful, gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful, gorgeous, beauteous girl who has an OnlyFans. And they dated. And then one day he was like, I don't want you posting about your OnlyFans anymore. And she was like, what? And he's like, I don't want you posting, like, a picture of my dog. And then the next photo is, like, you in a bikini saying swipe up. It makes me uncomfortable. And she was like, you knew what you were getting into. That doesn't make any sense. And that just stems from insecurity and projecting onto someone else. But don't go into something knowing full well what it is and then being like, actually, I changed my mind. I don't like this anymore. Yeah.
That's why I was like, if you actually look at the deeper reason for it, it's all coming from fear. Like, the man can be worried about losing her because now, like, she's promoting herself to other men or, like, whatever even. So it's like, it comes from an underlying fear. But if the guy actually goes in, does the work, and releases that fear, he could be more trusting in the relationship and be like, you do you, girl. Like, I know it won't affect us.
I find that empowering that you have all these eyes on you and yet you still choose me every day. I've actually just learned this amazing piece of advice from my friend Pam, and it's called the alchemy of the thought. And it's like taking this thought and alchemizing it and turning it into something else. So it's, for example, like what we're talking about, that guy could be like, okay, I have this insecurity and this fear that my beautiful, gorgeous girlfriend that has an OnlyFans, that now means that either she's going to cheat on me or, like, I'm jealous or whatever. But then using alchemy and changing it into, my girlfriend is beautiful. My girlfriend is desired. My girlfriend is successful. How lucky am I? How she can pay, you know what I mean? Like, she's financially independent. She's not going to be a gold digger. And just changing that.
Yeah, the perspective.
And just change the perspective. I'm like, that is so genius. You can do that for anything.
You can do that for free.
You can do
your
that
own mind.
For free in your own mind. The alchemy of the thought. You do just a little bit of little potion work and
what's
you change
cool
it up.
Is over time, because I learned that from Abraham Hicks. She was like, start out gradually and start saying, like, a more positive way of looking at things. But it's cool because over time you actually do brainwash. Your brain starts doing that naturally. Yeah. Because right now our brain is used to going the negative. Yeah. Because that's habitual. But then over time it just happens. I, like, notice I'm, like, saying it and I'm like, wow, I must be annoying to hang out with. Because I'm like, it's fine. It's probably this.
Absolutely. So absolutely. I've even been doing that, like, in the past couple of months. Even when it comes to, like, relationships or, you know, men, I'll be like, oh, but, like, what if he's not that? And I'm like, then he'll find out. I'll find out. He'll let me know one way or another.
I always find out.
I always find out. And it's going to be fine. You know what I mean? Just, you spin everything into a positive and it just,
I like that.
You'll be okay.
And you're just less anxious, less, like, depressed. It's like, it's so much better way of living. What is the most attractive way for a man to let you know that he is upset with you?
Speaking from experience, on the other end of the spectrum, I would say, ideally, the most attractive way for a man to show that he's upset with me is to maybe sit down, hold my hand, and be like, I love you. Can I be vulnerable for a second? Or I love you. Can I speak candidly for a second? Yeah. But approaching it with, like, hey, we're a team. I love you. But if I can be honest, it hurt my feelings whenever you said I had a small dick earlier. You know?
That was harsh.
It was hard. It was a little harsh. Like, I know you're joking around, but it actually, I'm insecure about it, hurt my feelings. Yeah. I love you, and I know you didn't mean anything by it, but I just wanted to be honest. And you know what I mean? Just like, it doesn't have to be a whole thing. No. And just like you said, reminding each other, like, we're on a team. Yeah. Where it's us against the problem. Just be like, hey, love you, here, us. This upset me, though. Yeah. Can we talk about this? Yeah. So attractive. It doesn't have to be a whole thing. And maybe at the time that she said he had a small penis, he wanted to react. He wanted to blow up, and he sat out and he said, no, I'm going to wait until I can sit down, grab her hand, say, I want to talk to you.
Let's talk about it.
That is so attractive.
Oh, yeah. I agree 100%.
Because that's how I approach things. So for someone else to do that, to give it and to receive it, oh my God.
It's so good. And I think, like what you said, reminding that you're a team and you're on the same side. Because a lot of people, when they're fighting, they think it has to be like one against the other, like who's right or wrong, instead of being like, no, we're on the same side. This is the issue. It's separate. Like this is
coming in between us, and this is what matters. Let's get mad at this guy.
Huge, yeah.
Let's get mad at this guy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because I even do like, when I want to bring up something, I do like the psychology, like sandwich effect, where you say like a positive, the negative, and the positive again. Because it's just like a good reminder of like, hey, I love you so much. I appreciate everything that you do. But I do want to let you know this one thing. And then you say something nice again. Yeah. But that I think is just, especially when you're talking to men. Like men, I always make sure I'm like, I never want them to feel like I'm just coming. Like attacking. Yeah. And I guess women too. We still don't like. Yeah. Because I was thinking, especially I had someone recently, what was it? Oh, they were like, oh, you're posting like sexy stuff on social media. But the way that they explain, like he came at me in a good way where it was like, oh, I love that you're sexy. I think like that's what I love about you. And I understand like I knew what I signed up for. Yeah. But can we come to like some kind of agreement on what you can, like what we both feel comfortable with you posting? Yeah. And if we agree on it, that's good. But he didn't make it seem like you need to stop that. Yeah. Of like, I knew what I'm into it. Let's talk about it. Yeah. I was like, that's attractive. Yeah, I like that. I was like, okay, I could think about it. Yeah, finding common ground and being able to just mutually agree on something. It's hot. And he didn't have to be like, hey, whore, let's talk about your Instagram. You know? Yeah, you just said me. And it's just really nice that you don't have to make it a whole thing. Yeah. If it's not a whole thing. Yeah, I hate when people bring out other things, like past stuff for other shit, and you're just like, no, let's stay on subject. Like, another thing. And I'm like, no. On that day, you were a whore that time too. I know. If you stay on subject, like that's huge too. Yeah. I hate when people are like trying to bring in other things. Yeah. Like just stay on that subject. It makes it cleaner. It's like we're talking about this one thing today, and we're going to talk about it. Don't try to be right by bringing in other things. Yeah. Because at that point, it's like you're not even trying to solve the problem. You're just trying to hurt the other person. You're trying to win, and that's not attractive. And the hurt is coming. That it's coming from like, oh, you hurt me, so I want to hurt you back. And that's so immature. And that is so toxic. Yeah. That is so immature. Babe, we're grown. Bye. Looks like you're re-downloading Tinder, buddy. Because I'm not dealing with that shit. That's the thing is that like a woman that you do want to date that's mentally healthy and loves herself, that's an attractive person to be with, she's not going to settle for those toxic behaviors. That's going to work with someone who's exactly. Healed only works with healed. Healing only works with healing. There's no such thing as healed. We're always healing. It is not linear. Forever growing. As painful as it is. I know. Can we I would like to stop. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, can I get a fucking break? I would like to stop. I would like to stop learning lessons. I'd also like to stop living in unprecedented time. So how would you feel if you were dating a guy and he's like, hey, your social media is too sexy. I want you to get rid of it. It's to the point where he's just like, I can't handle this. Okay, so my initial reaction would be, get fucked. My initial reaction. You're like, but then I'd be with myself. Yeah, you know. But I think, so here's the thing. I think that would depend relationship to relationship. I think it's, did she have this sexy Instagram before you guys started dating? Did you go into this knowing that she is like a sexy Instagram model or something and you knew what you were getting into? Or is this like, you guys had this beautiful vanilla relationship and then one day she's like posting thirst traps and she made no, you know what I mean? Like, is it, which even still like more power to her, but I think that could be more of a discussion as like a couple together. But if it's something where you knew well going into it that that's what she has and that's what she does, you don't have any right to tell her. Now, like you said, if he could be like, hey, I'm not telling you to do anything, I'm just being vulnerable with you here of how it makes me feel. Yeah. That's a different conversation. And I feel like that you can find some common ground. It can be a discussion. It doesn't have to be a take it down or I'm fucking leaving you whore. It can be a conversation. Yeah. I can understand that. You could come up with like agreements. Like some people, they're like, hey, could you just not show your butt? If you, and it's full well, she can say, no, yes, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to. Sorry. Or she could be like, I hear you. Sure. Yeah. Whatever, you know? Yeah. So I think that I think that it's wrong for a guy to tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. I think it's great if a guy comes to you
vulnerable with his feelings and wants to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
And find common ground.
Yeah.
That I get.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I hope now that all of our men can be a little bit more emotional in a masculine, sexy way and get more girls that they actually want to date. But thank you, Lauren, so much for joining us today. And can you tell them where they can find your cute little butt?
Oh my God, shut up. On the Instagram that I will not be deleting. I am Hey Lauren Summer on Instagram. I am the Lauren Summer on TikTok if it's still around by the time this video posts. And I think I'm Hey Lauren Summer and everything else and on OnlyFans.
And I'm Tashi999 on the sexy one and Tosh9pm on the cute one.
On the cute one.
Thank you so much. Love you.